Hi, Collective. Welcome back to Love, Light, and Life Affirmed, your daily affirmations for self love and growth. Hi, you guys. Welcome back into the channel. So, you guys, welcome back to Shadow Work Week. This is part one. I am actually going to introduce a new segment I think you guys will really benefit from. And, I know that this is a tougher topic, but I feel like the new decks that I have will really give you a little bit more insight on those more specific karmic lessons that you come across in your everyday life, especially if you are empathic and you are dealing with any type of narcissistic energy. So, in one of the decks, basically, it's going to help us unravel unseen forces and the karmic roles that basically shape your journey. So each one of the cards in this particular deck reveals the energy of a lesson, a connection, or a repeating cycle that you go through. This will also show patterns that persist until they are truly recognized by you. This also talks about raw truths, hidden influences, and the wisdom needed in order to break these cycles so you can step into your true growth for your soul. So I think it's going to be very, very useful. And I feel like since we're already talking about shadow work, it's just going to be a great addition to the topic. Regarding my empaths out there, dealing with narcissists. The other deck that I have basically explores the unspoken truths and the hidden dynamics between the narcissist and the empath. It unveils the untold emotions, the power struggles, and the insights into the paths of healing within your individual journey. So, like I said, very useful information. So, I'm going to do that towards the middle of the message here for you. So we will take a look at those today. So I'm really excited, you guys, for that. I feel like that will really help you because they are more specific. All right. Welcome back, all of my current followers and subscribers. Thank you guys so much for being back here with me. I'm so glad that these messages, especially regarding shadow work, have been helping you work on addressing, some things that need to be healed, looked at, that you've maybe been afraid to even talk about. Welcome in all of the new and incoming followers and subscribers. I'm so glad that you found the Soul Tribe. Welcome in. Get comfortable. You are always welcome here with no judgment and with so much love. So hit that subscription bell, select that arrow, select all so you don't miss any of the other messages as well. All right, you guys, let's get started on our shadow work part one. What are the most important shadow work oracles we need to discuss for the collective at this time? Okay. The first one out, explore feelings. Delve into insecurities and unresolved emotions, authentic closure, and peace. So, looking at unresolved emotions usually means having to be aware that they're even there. Most people know when there's things that they have not been able to address, especially when it comes to their emotions. And usually people know because they find ways to avoid having to feel or deal with them by distracting themselves, whether that is with other people, places, or things. Sometimes those things that people use as distractions end up causing more harm, especially if we're talking about, overindulging in alcohol or substances, things like that. Sometimes people find ways to avoid dealing with their emotions by connecting with other people physically overindulging in sexual activities. So that's another way. There's plenty of them, but those are just the main ones. This is challenging you to look at those emotions that you haven't truly faced, you haven't truly addressed, faced head on, maybe because of the level of fear that you have. And once you open up that door, how will you handle it? Will you be able to handle it? But that's really the whole point. Learning to face fear, befriend that fear, find the courage to look at it, address it. Even if that means having to find a mentor or a counselor, right? Somebody unbiased within your life that you can talk to about them. Get a different perspective, because your feelings are always valid, but it's important to know why you feel the way that you feel. Where does it stem from? What was the origin? What was the cause, to your effect, right? There's always a reason. It doesn't come out of nowhere. You don't wake up in the morning and one day just have all these suppressed negative emotions, that you are now trying to avoid. Sometimes just talking about the origin, where it originated, what was the event, who was involved, what was the situation, and even just learning to understand that can help you explore those deeper feelings. This is going to help you to find closure, find peace within, and help you to be okay with your authentic self. Because generally, when we are avoiding how we truly feel about something, a person, place, or thing, we can't live in our authentic self because of the mask that we wear to hide our true feelings, right? Okay. What else? Okay, right. See, avoidance. This is generally what happens. People try to avoid dealing with those feelings, those emotions that are hard to face, because facing the emotions means facing the trauma. It means really looking at what happened to you to make you feel that way. And that could be very overwhelming. It can cause anxiety. It's okay to avoid discomfort. It's okay to not put yourself in situations that make you feel uncomfortable. While that's okay, but it's also important to be okay with confronting those certain situations, people, places, or things that make you feel like you need to avoid them. So it says it's key to see the need to avoid discomfort, but also to overcome it and thrive. This helps you to continue making progress in life. When you feel like there's constantly things you have to avoid, it's hard to progress or move forward because you're afraid of the confrontation. So sometimes, again, confirmation, these kind of all go together here. So now instead of avoiding it, you need to journey inward. The path to enlightenment starts within you. Introspection, growth, right? Again, climbing up that mountain of your emotions, of your feelings, of your thoughts, exploring the situations that happened to you that caused you to feel in the ways that you do. Again, and some situations are very traumatic and I know are very difficult to even think about. But once you allow yourself the time, the space to truly delve into that and not hold yourself back, whatever raw emotion comes out naturally when you are addressing this, that is what needs to happen. You need to find a safe place in order to do this, whether that is with someone else or by yourself. You would know what would suit you best. Some people are okay with healing on their own in their own space, separate from other people, mostly because, they don't want to deal with the judgment of going through the process of trying to heal through something. Because most of the time, unfortunately, people are not going to be initially supportive. So sometimes you do need to be by yourself in order to find perspective, in order to address, those things that you need to heal. But some of you may have a safe place that involves another person that you can be open with, that you're not worried about being judged by. So you have to figure that out for you, but definitely going within is going to help. Again, take a look at the situation that caused you to feel in the way that you've been feeling, that you have been suppressing and avoiding. Okay, what else? Yeah, shame and guilt. This is generally also why you don't want to deal with those, hidden emotions, because usually when you think about the situation that you were in, it makes you feel shameful or guilt. But I feel like it's important to understand if that shame and guilt is being placed correctly, right? So, for example, if there's something traumatic that happened to you, trigger warning here, okay? We're all adults, but let's just say your body was violated, without your permission. Usually the victim feels that shame and guilt after a situation like that has happened to them. However, why should that make you feel shame and guilt if you were the victim? If you did not ask or cause the situation? But it does. It makes the person feel this shame and guilt, this burden, this heavy weight. This is not placed properly. That shame and guilt should be directed towards the individual who violated you. This is not something that you deserve to carry. In that situation, you have to, if you feel shame and guilt, forgive yourself for even blaming yourself, because that is not your fault. That was a decision made by the other person. They are the ones who are going to have to deal with that burden. It should not be something that you carry. Feel them without judgment. Mistakes do not define your worth. And again, sometimes we do make mistakes. And the severity of those mistakes, are going to be different. But if it's a mistake that can be remedied, can be fixed in a certain way, I don't feel like you should hold this weight, the shame and the guilt. If it's something that needs acknowledgement in order to try to find peace within the mistake or the decision, then do that. But have compassion and acceptance of self. Again, if you allow that shame and guilt to sit on your shoulders, you will always hold your head down instead of holding your head up in order to look forward. It will always keep you stuck in the past, in that feeling, in that emotion. And again, I'm just talking in general. There are a number of situations where people feel shame and guilt, and everybody's going to feel differently about it. So this is just general, okay? All right. Sacred boundaries, respecting and honoring your limits sets you free. Assertiveness, self-care. Some of you guys may have a hard time setting boundaries with the people in your life. I can speak to this on a personal level. I resonate with this one. This was something I had a really hard time doing until a few years ago, even with my own parents. I grew up in a culture where you respect your elders, and that is still very standard. but I had to rewire my perspective on what that meant, respecting your elders. Previously, before the healing, before me doing my own shadow work, my thought was, if I have to respect my elders, that means they are allowed to be in my life, control my life, be a part of my life, integrate in my life in any way that they chose, and I would have to respect that. So I didn't create boundaries for myself when it came to my family or my parents. I allowed people to be involved in all aspects of my life, not realizing that I didn't have to do that, that some of those things I could have kept sacred for me and created boundaries, even while still giving respect and showing respect to them as my elders, as my parents. But I didn't understand that. And so it was very difficult once I realized this and I started to set those boundaries. It became very difficult. It strained my relationships with my parents because I started to speak up for myself. I started to tell them what I would allow and what I would not allow. And so initially, because they had already been so involved in my life for so many years, they took it as a form of disrespect. So it created tension. So that was something that I had to deal with. I had to stand 10 toes down, though. I had to stand my ground constantly and remind them over and over and over again. So until they understood what my limits were, what my boundaries were, where they could intervene or where they could not. And after doing that for a certain amount of time, they finally now understand. They finally now see that it means that much to me that I'm not going to allow it anymore. So the only option was to either adapt to the boundaries that I set or not. And if not, that may mean not having a good relationship. But I was not willing anymore to sacrifice my own boundaries for them or for anyone, because I have to wake up and live with myself and be happy with self every single day. It is a form of self care, being assertive, but not disrespectful. So hopefully that helps someone. Okay. Yeah, like I said, you have to learn to dance with your shadow. You have to learn to balance it. We need both light and shadow in order to survive. And if you avoid looking at your shadow, it means that you're ashamed or you feel guilt because of your shadow side when you shouldn't. There is a way to have true balance as long as you understand your shadow, where it comes from, why it's there, what created it. Once you have that new perspective, now, okay, you know how to use it in your everyday life. You know how to indulge in it without harming others or yourself. You know how to balance it out. That's all this is about. Everybody goes through something. Everybody has some type of traumatic event or thing that has happened to them, and the skill is different for everybody. And this is not about comparison. It's about accepting and understanding that nobody has lived a life without something disappointing or traumatic that has happened. Again, even though the scales of the severity are different, everybody has been affected in some way, shape, or form by the behaviors and actions of other people in their lives, friends, family, romantic partners, It doesn't matter. So to say that no one has a shadow side, somebody's in denial. It's just about not being afraid to face it and doing something about it. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some strengths and abilities that can help. Some things that needs to be realized about yourself, collective ways that you can deal with some of these. What are the most important strengths and abilities? Sacred union. I love this one. Two powerful forces are uniting, whether in a relationship or within yourself. This union brings energy and growth. Embrace this connection. It will lead to deeper understanding and transformation. So, again, facing your shadow side is about coming into a sacred union with yourself, because your shadow side is just another part of you, collective. So, again, it's about creating that relationship where you can learn how to love all aspects of you and accepting who you are. Accepting things as they are can be a powerful step forward. You may be resisting changes lately. Let go of control, and you'll discover peace and new opportunities in the present moment. It is a part of you, because none of us can go back and change the past. We can't change what somebody has done or said. That's not our job. Our job is to love who we are wholeheartedly, authentically, not be ashamed or feel guilt for the life that we've had, the things that we've gone through, not to play the victim role or have a victim mentality either, because you are giving your power away. Or sometimes people use a victim mindset or playing the victim as a power play in order to get people to be more sympathetic towards them. None of that is acceptable. Renewal. You are entering a phase of renewal and fresh energy. Have you been feeling worn out? It's time to refresh yourself, whether by resisting or changing your environment. New energy is on the way. Once you start to reconnect with self, once you've accepted who you are on a more authentic level, you will begin to see things from a different perspective, from a renewed perspective. You will realize how much control you truly have over yourself and your own emotions, and how powerful that truly is. When you don't let other people overstep your boundaries, you don't let other people control how you feel about you, your emotions on a daily basis. Confirmation, emotion. Thank you, Spirit. Your emotions are guiding you through life's challenges, so they are important to understand, collective. Don't ignore those. They guide you through life's challenges. Have you been suppressing your feelings? Confirmation. Let them flow naturally, whether joy or sadness. Your emotions are your strength. There you go. What else? And they lead to your transformation. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You are undergoing a profound transformation. Have recent changes made you uncertain? Embrace the shifts that you experience when you are healing. Embrace them. They are guiding you toward personal and spiritual growth. Those things that you're starting to feel uncertain about, those changes that come in time, that is what leads you over time to your own personal and spiritual growth. Where there's pain, there is growth. Time is your greatest ally for growth and healing. Have you been rushing through life? Sometimes you got to slow down a little bit to truly pay attention, to truly see. Trust in the timing of things. Patience will bring the results you seek. Be patient with yourself. And here, bottom of the deck, confirmation. Boundaries. Okay. Awakening potential. Beautiful. So honor yourself. Oh, leading you to your purpose. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I'm going to introduce our new deck. So this one is the Divine Lessons, the role of the Karmic in your life. So I'm only going to pull a few. These may be situations that you have dealt with, are dealing with, but maybe not. So just take what resonates. I'm going to do these, pull these on our shadow work part 1, moving forward every week. So we'll get a chance to dive into these a little bit more every week. But I'm just going to pull a couple to see which ones are the most important for right now. Okay, one more, please. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got here. I will read these to you guys and then we'll discuss them. So the first one we have is in-law, silent executioners, offering advice wrapped in condescension and acceptance laced with judgment. They smile through clenched teeth. The lesson here is that family by marriage does not mean acceptance. Not all battles need to be fought with words. Some are fought through united endurance. So, this is pertaining to people who deal with in laws that they do not get along with, or in laws that you know don't like you, but they try to intervene in your marriage, in your relationship. So, the advice here is to stay united with each other in order to battle this silent executioner, the in laws. I feel like if anybody is married, most people deal with this. There's a lot of situations where people do not get along with their in laws, and it's most of the time unspoken. You know, you have to usually grit your teeth every time you have to go to a family event, knowing that these particular people don't care for you. It's a tough position to be in, especially when you love your spouse, but you just know that you will never be able to get along with their parents or vice versa, them with yours. So yeah, that's a very common one that most people have had to deal with or are currently dealing with. That's a tough one for sure. Okay, then we have partner connection, the shadow between an ex, a friend, an intrusive family member, or a past lover still lingering in the background. Their presence, a constant disruption. Through jealousy, interference, or unresolved ties, they teach that not all relationships are just between two people. Some come with ghosts that refuse to rest. The lesson here: love cannot thrive where past wounds still remain, and some battles are just not yours to fight. A very big one as well. You have to be very mindful of who you choose to be partners with, because even when those partners become a part of your past, they still find ways to disrupt your future. They still find ways to linger, to hang on, to cause issues in you trying to move forward, you trying to heal, you trying to grow. A lot of you guys may be experiencing this now. This is a big one. I think it's tough because when you first start dating someone or you first get into a serious relationship with someone, nobody's thinking about that far ahead, right? Or what if it doesn't work and the consequences of, you know, the breakup. But it is very important to understand who you are partnering with and the people connected to them that will ultimately remain in a part of your life, especially if there's kids involved, if this is a marriage and you're dealing with in laws, right? So it's definitely very important to take a deeper look and understand the connections to them, because those will be energies that will try to linger, especially depending on who the person is. Some people can break up or get a divorce and be amicable, go their separate ways, actually have good relationships, but it's a rare thing generally, especially in the midst of a breakup. Most of the time, people deal with very jealous ex-spouses, ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends that don't want to let go. Even friends that you've had to walk away from become very vengeful and angry and find ways to disrupt your life because they're not happy with theirs. It's an unfortunate thing, but it is a very real thing. So it's just very important to be mindful of who you are partnering with. Okay, and then the last one we have is authority figure, power hungry overseer through manipulation, intimidation, or favoritism. They thrive on control and use loopholes to suppress. The lesson to be learned is that true leadership is not about dominance. It's about integrity, and not everyone in power deserves or knows how to lead. I know a lot of people deal with this as well. A lot of people deal with emperors in reverse, authority figures that use control and fear to manipulate, or people who manipulate people around them to be in control to create fear. That is not what a leader does. A leader is supposed to encourage and help you grow, give you wisdom and knowledge, teach you how to be integral, to have integrity, have good character. But most people take their positions and use them to their advantage while they step on the people below them. And usually those positions get taken away in very interesting ways. So if you're ever in a position to be a leader, just be mindful. Don't allow that position to go to your head to create ego and pride because you feel that you have the control to harm or to create harm or fear out of control. Okay. All right. So let me pull a few unspoken messages between the narcissist and the empath. And let's see what those messages are here. Then I'll get you guys your spirit animal and angel number. Close this out. One more. Okay. We'll take these. Okay. So this one, I gave too much and expected too little. My love overflowed, but I never asked for the love I deserved. Number 21 breaks down to a 3. Yeah, this is for the empath, the overgiver. I can relate to this one personally. Again, until you set boundaries, and then when you set boundaries, people act surprised. Yes, this is definitely one that I am familiar with. I gave too much and expected too little of others. I wore my heart on my sleeve. I made sure my love constantly overflowed for others, but never truly asked for the love that I deserved. You could be 21, born on the 21st. The number 3 could be significant, the month of March. But yes, this was definitely a hard lesson for me to learn, because it was a bit of naivety on my part to believe that people would automatically give to you what you gave to them. It was definitely a hard lesson, a heartbreaking one. Then we have, I rewrite history to protect my image. Words from the Narcissist. I alter the past so you question your memory, leaving my version as the only reality you trust. Number 15 could be significant. Devil energy. The number 6, the month of June, born on the 15th. So this may be something you've experienced from a narcissist, where their story is rewritten in the way that makes them look good and make you not trust your own memory. Your love exposes my emptiness. Genuine affection feels alien and threatening to my fragile ego. Number 24. Unspoken words of a narcissist. So when you are over loving to a narcissist, it easily exposes their lack of feeling, their lack and an inability to truly love properly. It exposes how empty they truly feel internally. And the genuine love that comes so naturally to you as an empath, it feels alien to them. It threatens their ego because you are now a mirror of everything that they are not. So if you have ever experienced this, understand that, yes, it is a real thing. Energy between empaths and narcissists. Narcissists are generally attracted to empaths because, again, as an empath, you are an overgiver, but you don't realize it, almost to your detriment. And as a narcissist, they are able to manipulate and gaslight and control your emotions, which benefit them and their ego. So, in-laws, if you've experienced that, silence is best. Pick and choose your battles. If you and your spouse are on the same page, hold on to each other tight. Be mindful about the partners you are choosing, who you are connecting to, because they also come with baggage, seen and unseen. And some people don't like to let people move forward when the relationship is over. And if you've ever dealt with an authority figure that was power hungry, who used manipulation and control and fear to dominate others, understand that the majority of the time, those people don't keep their positions very long. But stay strong, stay authentic. All right, let me get you guys a spirit animal and then angel number to close this out for you guys. Hopefully those were helpful. Like I said, I'm going to be pulling those during our shadow work messages. I feel like they're very important things to recognize, to be aware of, so that you understand when you are in those type of situations that it's not just your imagination collective. These are real things. Okay, we have the nightingale bird. Birds could be significant to you at this time. Blue jays, red birds, orange and brown birds. The air element, nightingale. Okay. Fearless voice, speech, communication, or song. The song of the nightingale is otherworldly. This simple brown bird, almost unnoticeable among the flashy plumage of other birds, transports its listener to the realm of poetry. Some of you guys might like poetry or be writers or know someone who likes writing poetry. Nightingale energy is with us when we write, compose, and especially when we sing. It reminds us that music heals the deepest wounds. Some of you guys really enjoy music, connect to music on a deeper level. This is an indication there is a need to open the bridge between the heart and the voice. Some of you guys need to work on expressing yourselves emotionally. Again, addressing and looking at those deeper suppressed emotions that you hide from, that you are afraid of. The nightingale is encouraging you to use your voice to express your emotions from the heart. Is there something you need to say? How long has it been since you sang? Turn it up, write it down, and let it out. When in balance, sings, speaks freely with kindness. When out of balance, shy, lump in the throat. To bring into balance, music. So, some of you guys may need to use music in order to express something that you truly need to say as the initial way of expression, which could help encourage you to use your words. Sometimes the lyrics of music explain things in a way that help you to explain things. So I feel like music is very important to you at this time. You know, find ways to connect your emotions with music, use music, the lyrics, in order to express yourself. Maybe find words that you couldn't think of or don't know how to put together properly as a way of expressing your emotions or talking about them. Okay. All right, you guys, let me get you your angel number. Close this out for Shadow Work Part 1. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. I pray that it was oh, beautiful number. My collective, part of the 144. It's time to connect, you guys. Communicate. Communication is very significant for this message. It's time to open up and really communicate those emotions, those feelings from your heart space. Don't be afraid of it. If you need other things to help with your expression, poetry, music, do that. If you need to write it down, write someone a letter, do that. Communicate with the divine. Your angels are urging you to make a connection with the divine in your daily life. They want to strengthen your ability to communicate on a high vibrational level. Sit in meditation right now with your hands on your crown chakra, which is the top of your head, and envision yourself opening up to the wisdom of the divine. They are always ready to communicate with you, to help you say something you need to say. If you need to just start to communicate with the divine and express yourself and how you feel emotionally about things that have happened to you, that's a good place to start. They will always be willing to listen to you without bias, without judgment. Sometimes it can bring you a level of peace you didn't know that you needed. So start there. But yeah, communicating about your emotions is definitely big here. It's time to sing again. All right, collective. This is an amazing message. I pray that it was useful, purposeful. Pray that it gave you some food for thought. Hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me. But until next time, you guys, bye.